I've got Trent Walton here. Trent has been by. Hey, Trent. He's been by to talk to us before, but he works with Paravel.
Hmm.
He's responsible for some of that great work behind Lost Worlds Fairs. They put out a jQuery plugin that I want to get him to talk to us about. And he also does the Many Faces of, you've seen that stuff, and the Design Swap series. So it's a man of many random things. So welcome.
Hey, nice to be here. Thanks for having me twice. This is my
Yeah,
second.
thanks for
That's
coming.
good.
Well, tell me a little bit about Lost Worlds Fairs. What we were just talking about that a little bit, but what got you involved in that?
I don't know. Jason Santamaria called and asked us if we wanted to do it, and I didn't ask too many questions at the beginning. I
Yeah,
was like, yes, yes, and was really kind of excited. He mentioned that he would be designing some kind of type themed poster type sites. We didn't really have any more beyond that, other than we needed to showcase the new WAF type format, web font format, and it was going to be kind of in IE to show how well IE can handle that. And that Naz Hamid and Frank Camara were also going to be designing. And my first thought was yes. And my second thought was sort of like, oh, wait, I've got to do a good job. This is serious stuff. There's going to be some good design. It was really kind of an honor to be involved. So the second thought was to get Dave Rupert, Paravel's and lead designer guy and lead developer, and kind of the guy basically who taught me HTML back to 2002. We've been working together for a really long time, so I needed kind of the right hand man to be there to make sure I didn't mess anything up. But it kind of just started there. We kind of figured the fun part on that job was we could do anything. There wasn't like there was content written. Or even just a specific concept. They really kind of supported what we wanted to do creatively. A couple Skype calls later, we kind of narrowed it down to like a fictional world's fairs that never were, kind of a concept, and designed from there. And it was really kind of fun to be involved, to kind of see the way each team member approached the creative process.
Right.
So we do so much kind of Paravel, Dave Reagan and I, which I love, but it was kind of nice to kind of work and see the way other people approach stuff. So it was a fun deal. Our job was to code all three of those sites: Atlantis, El Dorado, and the Moon, and that was great fun. And then I got to design the homepage, which was even more intimidating, and code that out as well. So it was a lot of fun. We did that kind of through August and September, and when we launched, I was just pleased as punch to have been called in the first place.
Right. From that, I noticed I guess you recently pushed this out, but the Lettering JS, that's a jQuery plugin for doing some crazy typography stuff. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, whenever we're going to code something, especially if it's not super obvious, Dave and I will kind of look at the designs and say, what's the best way to do this? How do you, and I think everybody does that. How are you going to slice these images?
Right.
You're going to CSS through that button or not? Stuff like that. And we realized, there's going to be a lot of spans, which was okay. This isn't something that, we're not designing a site for a business per se. We're just showing off web font. So it was, back to that, it was just so much fun to have that as kind of the main objective. It was sort of a free-for-all in that sense. So we realized, though, that there'd be a lot of spans, and what happens if something needs to change. So, you wouldn't want to put every single letter in a span in the markup and then have to go back and kind of reorganize if something changed. Right. Or there's a lot of improv. If you're coding something out and it didn't float or clear or whatever, or it's just not going to work, you need to do it a different way, it could present a lot of problems. So 100% Dave, we're just talking, and like 30 minutes later, it's not a really complicated piece of JavaScript. It's a few lines. He wrote it and comes back to me and says, "Here's this thing that'll do X, Y, and Z," which is really common. Like both guys, Dave and Reagan, they're usually the king of solutions. They'll have a problem and they'll solve it, and that's kind of maybe I get to look a little bit better than or more talented than I am because I've got such good guys working with me. So, anyways, Dave built this, and we just kind of realized, man, this is like pretty neat little solution here. So we wanted to kind of share it and kind of push it out. It's not something that I would say belongs in everyone's site kit. It's not the first thing that you should use I was giving the analogy a couple of months ago. It's like instead of a hammer and nail, something you would fundamentally to build something, it's like a rivet gun. Like if you have this one problem, you have like 100-point font, or you're doing like a logo type, you want it to be a rich text or whatever, like HTML text, you would use that. So it's a solution and it's out there, and we wanted to share with it. It's definitely not a prescription saying use what you can get, but we found a lot of good uses for it in the past, and now we're using it on a couple tails. So
that's really nice of you to do that, to put out a tool that you guys use to do such cool things for everybody else to use. So we thank you. Oh yeah,
that's the web community. We all got to use each other's stuff.
That's right. That's right. Well, then you're also doing I think this was the first thing you did like earlier in the year since the last time we talked. The Many Faces of series that you guys are putting out. We love those things. I think we featured a couple of them. You're on the Goonies right now, but why do you guys do those?
It started off, I have my blog, and I wanted to write a post about Alan Rickman for no reason whatsoever. So I was kind of begging Reagan to hook me up with some illustrations, and I was like, could you draw me a picture of Alan Rickman? And needless to say, I needed to explain why and like what the heck the deal was. So we're kind of talking about what would the post be about, and I was kind of like, well, when he plays a villain, it makes any movie better. I mean, Robin Hood wasn't a good movie, but he was incredible in it, and I own that movie because he's in it. So you get into Die Hard, which everybody should own, and Quigley Down Under in the Harry Potter series, and we started kind of drawing all these comparisons and having this huge debate over like what's kind of the formula that Alan Rickman takes when he's a villain, and we spent way too much time on a Friday afternoon or something like talking about it. So we realized immediately that this should be a site. I mean, we started talking about things we haven't gotten to yet, like Burt Reynolds or whatever. So we decided, Reagan had a really good time illustrating the first one and kind of getting things going. So immediately we just, as I do, we registered a domain on the spot, a lot, and went after it. And so, a little bit busy. We're working on the fourth. We've done Alan Rickman, Junk, and the Goonies. And the next one, I'll give it away if I talk any more about it. We're really kind of excited about this one. There's a DVD release with this person coming up by the end of the year, and so we're kind of hope we can finish this by the time whatever DVD that may be comes out. So
awesome.
Anyway, it goes back to I love it when I can just kind of turn Reagan loose to illustrate things. Of like talking about this stuff, and we take time out every week. A percentage of our week is always going to be dedicated to side projects. It keeps us fresh. It gives us room to kind of like, well, first of all, if you have an idea, it may not work with a client project, and I used to find myself just dying to fit it in there. Like I'll be in the footer and I'm designing a stupid quirky thing that I've had in mind that doesn't fit the job. It's bad for everybody. So it's good to kind of have this like free for all creative outlet. That we can use, and it's also just kind of keeps us sharp. I mean, coding those isn't easy, and kind of figuring out all that. So it's a good process, So that's a big deal. We have a lot of fun with it, and I think it's a good way to kind of like, reboot at the end of a long week or even just a long project. So
yeah, I would agree with that. That's really smart. Was that sort of like, but was the design of those things sort of like an answer to, like Paravel's answer to all these like art-directed posts, I mean, because you kind of got into that with your Trent Walton blog.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it happened.
Or it's just a natural.
We didn't like to design the crap out of stuff. I mean, we don't have much of a plan. We just wanted it to be cool. And I think back to that, though, the reason we designed stuff, there's no like agenda, and I'm not somebody that's going to. And maybe I should have more thought into how it would be taken. But we just want people to read it, so we're going to do anything we can to kind of say, hey, this is neat. Like we put a lot of time into talking about Alan Rickman, so we're going to put that much time into design. So it's just, and it makes it more fun.
That's cool. Have you heard from Alan Rickman?
No, we haven't. Anybody? I would like Alan Rickman to call and just say hello, or John Cusack.
Yeah.
Or any of the Goonies.
Or any of the Goonies, right.
Or the next person.
Well, speaking of the Goonies, really quick, I want to pull this out, and I'll do this in the post for this discussion here. But you guys created an iPad game for the Goonies, and
Yeah,
my
like
kids actually play that thing. It's really fun.
Yeah. Why did we do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Dave kind of wanted to build an iPad game, and this goes back to the whole side projects thing. And the iPad had just come out, and we wanted to get. So, forget all the technologies Dave used. I think I have a post on my side about it.
Okay.
But like, we just wanted to. We thought, and that goes back to somebody hires us, and we need iPad work.
Yeah.
Well, instead of like a client stepping out and hiring us for the first time to do that, we can say, I mean, they may think it's ridiculous, but here's stuff we've done for ourselves.
Yeah.
So, and it's fun to play. Throw it down on the coffee table and shoot some ladders stuff. All good.
We've done that. Well, the last thing I want to talk to you about is the design swap. I think you did the first one, right? You and Yaron Schoen, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yaron Schoen, yeah.
Which is another wonderful designer. If you guys haven't checked him out yet, you definitely should look him up. So just walk me through the genesis of that design swap and how it's going now.
That's a good question. We were South by Southwest. We were walking from the convention center to Iron Cactus, and we had just met Yaron and I. Mm-hmm. And so we get there, and we start kind of talking about, you should like post on my site, and I'll post on yours. Why not? And that was it. I mean, then back to that whole deal. We entered the domain through our iPhones, and that was it. I mean, we were just seize the moment. So, and it's been pretty good. Like we have a whole bunch kind of in the works. I could talk for days about that. It's at the beginning we just wanted to get people involved and get people kind of on the list, and we're in such a rush to get it out. I mean, it's balancing this with client work. It's more difficult because then we've got sort of like 20 people involved or 10 people involved or whatever, and we're kind of trying to manage schedules.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to happen. I mean, we've had two, and we're about to have our third soon. What we're going to need to do is make assessments. I think it'll be sort of more of a free for all because the whole point, it isn't to put a lot of work and time. It isn't sort of like a hey, look what I'm capable of. It's more like, and we've even kind of, this may be too soon to say, we're thinking about time limit on it, so it's more casual. It's more about the relationships and a lot less about the design, I guess. But I think that's sort of where we're headed is once we can kind of get a handle and kind of get our schedule finalized over the next couple of months, what we're going to be doing is sort of just like opening wide open and saying, do your swap, tell us about it, we'll post about it, almost like the way you guys handle stuff.
Right.
Which, if you look at design swap and the last time we published something, an unmatched style, there's a huge discrepancy. So we're trying to kind of get down that point where if you've got an idea and you have time and you want to do it, we're thrilled to have you. So let's go there and tell us, that you're done.
That's
and
great.
We'll kind of do sort of like a little bit of commentary and post it on the site and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
We'll figure out what we're going to try.
That's awesome. Well, Trent, thank you for spending Friday afternoon with me and letting us know what you have going on. We're always watching you. We're always interested in what you're doing.
Great. That's good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.